I think it also just puts a big statement out there that Arsenal are here. Arsenal can win everything. Welcome back to the Arsenal Humans podcast with me, Luce. I hope you're good. You're probably just as shocked as I am that I'm back already. I mean, it's literally been like 3 days, but Arsenal just popping out news left, right and centre. We've got new signings. We've got signings leaked. We're competing in the Euros. So many of the Gooners are through to the semi-finals. So I feel like there's a lot to chat about, and I thought, why wait a whole week when I've got some free time now? I thought I'd deliver the goods. Well, it depends actually if you enjoy this podcast. But if you're watching right now, I'm assuming you do. Or if you're new, thank you for joining me. I hope you stay on this journey because I'm going to be giving you updates right up until the season starts again, and then it would just go back to weekly podcasts. But for now, I thought let's mix it up a bit. Let's do a few different podcasts. And yeah, basically 2 signings have been announced in the last few days since I did the last one, and then also another signing has been leaked. So there's a lot to get into. So before I carry on waffling, let's get into that warm-up poll where we'll review one of those signings. And to be fair, I feel like they're getting a lot of praise right now, but they weren't a few weeks ago. So let's get into that now. It's like I never left. That Tracy Beaker quote is playing in my head right now because I feel like I was literally sat here a couple of days ago, and to be fair, I literally was sat here in this seat a few days ago talking about, are we going to sign Olivia Smith? We've just signed these new players, and now we're back with confirmation on that Olivia Smith signing. But also, the question that I've done for the warm-up poll is based on the other signing, which is Noni Madueke, and I'm so excited to hear your thoughts on this one. So excited, in fact, that basically I usually do the warm-up poll either the morning of the podcast or the night before, and then I look at the results, sort of filter out, okay, what do I, like if it's, if you comment, obviously, then I look at the DMs and I'm like, okay, like, let me see what people are thinking, or I look at the poll results purely, and then I'm like, okay, like, I agree or I disagree. Today, I thought, let's go in without looking at the poll results and let me just live preview these results. So obviously the question, because we are focusing on the most recent Arsenal signing, which is Noni Madueke, I thought I'd ask the question, Gooners, are you happy to see this signing? Because obviously there were very mixed reviews leading up into basically this announcement. I mean, the hashtag no to Madueke was literally trending, which, imagine that as a player, like on a real, imagine that before you sign a club, you're getting hate already from Chelsea, and then before you sign a rival club, supposedly like a London rival club, Arsenal, you're getting even more hate. And I do understand partly why there was this disagreement with him coming, because obviously we're so fixated on a striker and getting another winger isn't what we want. But I think now, obviously I'm going to go into this in more detail, but I think now we're able to see that he's going to slot in to that attacking lineup because we do have strikers like Gyökeres being linked with Arsenal. Whether they actually come to Arsenal is another question because we're yet to hear, but I'm hoping this striker gets announced soon and then this becomes a great signing. Whereas if this was our signing instead of a striker, I understand why people like no, because no one else is rumoured at that time. But anyways, let me get into it. So I asked that question and let me look at the results. So the thing was, Gooners, are you happy to see this signing? Yes or no? Simple poll question. So 85% of you said yes and 15% of you said no. And I've got to agree. I feel like I literally say this every time. I might as well just copy and paste this little clip and put it in every episode because I do feel like I agree with you guys a lot. I'm happy he's signed for us, and I'm going to get into it in more detail like later on the episode, obviously when I talk more about the transfer talk and who we've signed and who we haven't. But just to put a basic reasoning why I agree is he is such a good backup for Saka. And I mean, there's obviously debates like why would you want to come to Arsenal when you know you're going to be that backup, but we saw when Saka was playing, like Saka played like so many games, and then the minute Saka got injured, then we dipped. And I feel like it's so bad that we relied so heavily on just one young star, but that's what we did at Arsenal. For some reason we relied purely pretty much on Saka, and then it meant that our attacking three, yes, we had Ethan Nwaneri pop in, and I think also he's a very good backup, but I think with Noni Madueke, he can sort of slot into either side, so I feel like he's a very good signing, so I'm very happy with that. I think it takes the pressure of Saka as well. It may be cup competitions, it may be games that we don't need our best players, but also it's just that safety blanket, which I feel like we don't really have. And also the leak signing, which I'm going to get into in a bit, I feel like provides a safety blanket as well in defence. So I think right now I'm quite impressed with Arsenal, which I don't know why I sound so shocked, but I'm actually quite impressed that we're providing more of a security and safety blanket in terms of Arsenal's squad depth, rather than getting one amazing player and then not having as good of a backup, if that makes sense. So this is promising. I'm going to obviously get into it in more detail later in this episode, and I'll also be chatting about the Euros and everything that's happening there. So let's get into that now. You know what? This is actually a really exciting time to be a Gooner, because I feel like we're actually signing players, and like I just said then, we're strengthening our squad, and it's making me excited. But when I say our squad, I'm not talking about just the men or just the women. As a whole, we're really strengthening our squads in places that I didn't even think were necessarily the priority, but because we're doing it, it just makes so much sense. And I'm going to kick that off by talking about Olivia Smith. Olivia Smith has obviously signed for Arsenal. She is the record-breaking signing for the women's game. She's come to us for £1 million, and yeah, that feels pretty cool. The Canadian striker has proved to be so promising in the WSL. Obviously, she's played at Liverpool, and she's been a player that, when I was watching her the last couple of seasons, I thought, yeah, a bigger club is going to snatch her up. I'd love it to be Arsenal, but at that point, we only really had the League Cup to our name in the last few seasons, like in the recent history. So I feel like, we were kind of not really the number one spot that she'd want to come to, but for some reason, she's changed her mind, and I think that reason is pretty much down to the Champions League win, because obviously that has done so much for us. It's put belief back into us, it's put money back into us, and I feel like that is very crucial. I think now I'm just looking at our attacking third, and like, our attacking players are crazy. Like, the squad depth we have for that, I mean, the men need to take notes, because the squad depth we have is actually crazy. I mean, Olivia Smith has proved to be great in the final third. I mentioned in my last episode, if you want to go back, I spoke a little bit more in detail about how Olivia Smith will change the way Arsenal play in a positive way. But I think she's got that nature where she's persistent in the final third. It's something that I think we see a lot with Caitlin Ford, and I've seen a lot of Caitlin Ford in the last couple of seasons. I think she's really proved to be one of our best wingers, one of our best attacking players, because she just keeps trying. And I think I mentioned in the last episode Olivia Smith's turnover play, and how in the final third I think there were only 6 more players in last season above her in the WSL that actually had a better turnover, which is crazy. She's only 20 years old, and to be signing for this amount of money, you don't just sign anyone for £1 million. You sign a player that is worth that amount of money and that will benefit your squad, because why would you waste that amount of money? I think it also just puts a big statement out there that Arsenal are here. Arsenal can win everything. I loved the comments on the announcement post. I mean, we knew it was happening. It literally happened. I posted episode 33 the night before, and then the next morning I woke up and I saw the video straight away, and I was like, yep, it's happened. It's officially happened. All the comments were like, this is it. Arsenal are winning everything now. And I was like, right. I agree that Arsenal have a good chance of winning a lot of things now. Our squad depth is getting so good. I mean, for me, I thought it was more our defensive lineup that we need to maybe work on. But the fact that we're still wanting to work on our attacking squad, I think what Slagers is doing is amazing. She has built an environment that players want to come to. The best of the best are coming to us, and also at such a young age. I mean, I'm going to talk a bit more about the Euros in a bit, but we've got Michelle Adjumang, who's another great striker, attacking player. She plays in the wing. Anywhere up at the top you put her, she'll be scoring those goals. She'll be collecting the ball, bringing it down and looking for those options. She's so pivotal. So it's the fact that we've got young players like Michelle Adjumang and Olivia Smith in our squad. I'm just so excited for the season. I kind of just want it to start now. I know I'm getting excited, like all these players coming in, but you just want to actually see it. Like, I'm visualising it, but I actually just want to see it now. So yes, I'm very excited to see Olivia Smith join Arsenal. I'm excited to see what she does. Also a bit curious about how Slagers is going to manage this one, because we've got the likes of Russo, Ford, Mornham, Blackstenius, now Olivia Smith, Michelle Adjumang, because she's definitely probably going to come back to us permanently. So we've got the likes of all these players. I've definitely missed out some as well, which is mad because there's just so many. Like Mead, Caldente just behind. Like, we've got all these players, so I don't know how you're meant to manage that. But it's a very good position to be in, that we're having these problems rather than we don't have enough players or this player's not good enough. because, I mean, if you see Black Stenius in the Euros, yes, we did an out, which I get into in a bit, but the pace she has and everything, yeah, I'm kind of blown away, you know, by Slagers and the decisions she's making, the players she's attracting. I'm very excited about next season, so let's get that started. Before I praise even more, I mean, she deserves all the praise, Olivia Smith and Slagers and pretty much Arsenal as a whole. Let's focus on the signing that I just spoke about briefly in the warm-up poll, which is Noni Madueke, who has signed for Arsenal from Chelsea. He went for about 50 million, which I think people were saying this hashtag no to Madueke because of the price as well, because we were like, why are we prioritising this? I don't actually know what the finances looks like at the club. I'm not really as educated on that sort of side of it, but I know that Arsenal do have money. The women are proving that we're using our money in a efficient way. We're getting in players, we're making statements. The men, I feel like we're actually using our money. I mean, actually, I saw this stat. Let me get it up. So, Arsenal signings. We've made 4 signings so far for the men's side. Kepa at 5 mil, Zubi Mende at 51 mil, Norgard at 15 mil, and Madueke at 50. Oh, it's 52 mil. I thought it was just about 50, but you know, that's roughly 50. 52 mil, which means that as a whole, Arsenal men have spent £123 million already in this transfer window. And when you compare that to the women's side, and obviously I'm like, oh, Olivia Smith's just signed for £1 million. It is mad the difference. But either way, it shows that Arsenal men and women are competing in their respective leagues. So I feel like this is promising. I think if we don't end up getting a striker, then this will be really frustrating. But because we're so heavily linked with Gyökeres, I mean, we were linked with Sesko and Gyökeres at one point, but I think Gyökeres is the one that I think will get over the line in the next week or two. Because we're so heavily linked. I think this is such a great signing having Madueke in this squad because he's going to provide that squad depth up at the top. People are saying that Martinelli hasn't been performing as well the last couple of seasons. Completely agree. He's still a great player, but in terms of winning the league, winning the Champions League, winning any sort of trophy this season, which is our aim, because Arteta's job is pretty much under question if we don't, I think we need backup for Martinelli. We also need backup for Saka because, like I mentioned before, Saka was getting injured and then that was affecting the whole squad because we relied so heavily on that position. Ethan Waneri came in, did a great job, but I think if we can provide even more squad depth, then that will just be great. And I think Madueke has proved at Chelsea that he can score those goals, he can get in those positions. I also like his personality as well. For me, I don't like arrogance, I like confidence. I think Arteta, the decisions he's made, especially when he first came into the club, he made decisions that is like, if you don't respect him, if he doesn't like the environment, the vibe that you bring to the squad, to the changing room as a whole, on the pitch, off the pitch, then he will get rid of you. So I think he's going to take no nonsense. So for him, he's looked at this signing and thought, yeah, he brings a bit of character, brings a bit of personality. I mean, I feel like since it got announced yesterday, I've just been seeing loads of like clips and reels of him, and I was like, yeah, he brings that like a fresh personality, a fresh aura to the game. So I am excited. I hope I don't end up going back on what I'm saying and be like, oh, he's actually really annoying, like he's so arrogant, because honestly, arrogance I feel like is the biggest ick. But I do feel like he's not got, I feel like all footballers, men, women, have that little bit of flair, that little bit of arrogance, that little bit of confidence. But I think obviously you can cross the line and it is a bit like relax. So I'm hoping he doesn't do that. But I do think obviously football, focusing on just the football, the tactical side of it, it's great signing because we've now got backup. So I don't understand if anyone's still seeing this as a bad signing. I mean, it is questionable if we weren't getting that striker, but I think because we're pretty much set on getting that striker, it's a great signing if we've got the money, which I'm assuming we do. But also personality-wise, I feel like it will add a bit more character to Arsenal, which I think is just what people look for now. Like, it's not just about the footballer in terms of what they do on the pitch, it's about how they actually act, how they hold themselves. So I'm excited. I feel like this should be good. We obviously are still linked with people like Eze as well, who would be great in the top line. But for me, I don't think Eze is really a priority because we need that out-and-out striker. So I think obviously Gyökeres is the main guy that we should be going for, and I'm hoping we get Gyökeres in the next few days. Moving on to a signing that I don't even know how Arsenal managed this one. But they basically, when they announced that Madueke signed for Arsenal, they basically put obviously like loads of photos up, loads of Getty Images ones, and they accidentally leaked the men's 5th signing of this window during this Madueke unveiling. So it pretty much looks like Christian Mosquera is joining Arsenal. I mean, I don't know how the admin or whoever managed to do that, but Arsenal accidentally leaked that Christian Mosquera is the 5th Arsenal men's signing of this summer window. And yeah, I mean, it's basically got to get announced now. Let me just actually look at Arsenal. Imagine if it was announced right now. I mean, if you were admin, you'd literally be like, we might as well just post it. No, so far nothing. It's literally, if you go on their Instagram, it's still just all Noni up there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of him, obviously I want to talk more when we actually sign him, so that'll be the next episode. I can talk in more detail. But right now, just looking at it, because it's basically happening, it's not really a rumour anymore. We've seen him sat in the chair of the Arsenal press, the Arsenal media team, so we know it's basically happening. But I think for us, he's only 20 years old. Yes, he's going to make mistakes because he's so young, but it's good to see that we're building on our defence. The likes of Saka, Saliba, Gabriel, they are so crucial for Arsenal, but when you're relying so heavily on these players, they are likely to get injured, and that's something we sadly saw a lot over the last couple of seasons. So I think it's great that Arsenal are looking to strengthen in both those areas. I feel like Arsenal look really prepared going into this season. I don't know if I've jinxed that, actually, touch wood, just in case I have, but I do feel like Arsenal are proving that they're not just focusing on that striker, because how's the ball going to get there if you've got all these players injured? If all these players aren't good enough, the ball's not even going to get to the top to provide that striker. I think both the men and women are looking good ahead of the season, so I'm very excited. Focusing on what the women are doing right now, though, in this summer window, we obviously have the women, like most of the ones who aren't competing in the Euros or any other competition, have returned to training. You've seen on their socials. But focusing on the Euros and what has happened, we've had the quarterfinals. I thought I'd do this now because we do have the last quarterfinal tonight, but there's no Gooners in it, so it actually doesn't affect anything I'm going to say about Arsenal. Should be a good game though, because it is France-Germany. But focusing on the 3 quarterfinals we had Norway versus Italy. Norway got knocked out, and that means sadly Frida Mornum is knocked out, who is obviously an Arsenal player. So Italy won 2-1. We have Sweden, England. Boy, that was a mad game. Obviously, Stina Blackstenius represents Sweden, and then we have 6 players representing England. And to be fair, am I biased? Yeah, I'm always biased on here, whatever, I'm going to carry it on. I think the best players on the pitch were Arsenal players, because if you look, actually, not all of them, but like most of the players that performed well were Arsenal players. If you looked at Sweden, Stina Blackstenius, every time she got on that ball, as an England fan, I was screaming, I was crying, I was thrown up. I was like, nope, get her off that ball. I don't like this, because she literally is so good in front of the net. She's so quick. Jess Carter had no chance. She was running past her. She was doing skills. I hate to say it. She was even making Leah Williamson look poor as well, because the way she was cutting in, how she'd just sprint past. She had players diving at her feet, basically. So yeah, she is unreal. It's obviously sad that she'll no longer be in the competition, so as a Gooner we won't be able to watch her, which is obviously annoying, but as a Lioness fan, I'm very happy that, although that was, people are labelling it the worst and best penalty shootout, I think the quality wasn't all there for all of the penalty kicks, but the excitement, the passion, the pressure, everything else was there, which made it one of the best penalty shootouts I think I've seen, which is kind of crazy, because yeah, the quality wasn't there as much. It just went on forever and ever, and I think obviously this is why I said most players were Arsenal, because Hannah Hampton, I think, was one of our best players. I think Chloe Kelly, Michelle Adjumang and Hannah Hampton were the 3 players that carried England. Lucy Bronze did her fair share as well, so I think it looks pretty much like Chelsea and Arsenal are carrying the Lionesses right now. But yeah, I mean, if you look at what was happening with the Lionesses, we were shocking until about the 70th minute. Then we brought on Chloe Kelly. Then we brought on Michelle Adjumang, Beth Mead. We brought on all these Gooners, and suddenly, we brought on all these Gunners, and suddenly it was like, oh, okay, we actually want to compete, we want to be here. Chloe Kelly's assists, unreal. Obviously one Lucy Bronze got, then her head on, then the other one went in the air a bit, came down to Michelle Adjumang. She scored. Michelle Adjumang is my favourite Lioness. She is unreal. At 19 years old, what she's doing, she brings in such a fresh energy into the squad. She brings it into the pitch as well the minute she steps on. Michelle Adjumant is the definition of a game changer. I mean, she's basically the Russo of this competition, because if you go back to 2022, Russo would come on, Ellen White would be on the pitch, Ellen White would go off, Russo would come on. What I think is interesting that Wiegman's doing is she's keeping Russo on as well. So Adjumant and Russo work alongside each other, whether that's one of them on the wing or they're actually just both the striking options, which is something that as an Arsenal fan, we were begging Jonas to do with Russo and Blackstenius, but for some reason he never did. And the minute Slager started unlocking that new structure and that new formation, we started getting more goals, because I feel like Russo is the player that she needs to have those players near her as well to provide that support, because she works very well off other players. Whereas Michelle Adjumant, I think Michelle Adjumant could probably just be up top by herself. But yeah, she's such a good game changer, and it made me very proud to not only be an England fan but also an Arsenal fan in those moments when Chloe Kelly comes on, changes the game. I think firstly also her shin pads that she wore, which was so cute. I mean, that is literally, if that's not couple goals, having your husband and you on your shin pads from your wedding day, honestly, it was so cute to see. I loved it. And obviously when she came on, she changed the game. I mean, her iconic penalty literally changed kind of the course of the penalty shootout, because then Lucy Bronze ended up smacking it straight down the middle, and it went in as well. So that was very good to see. So that's enough on that game, but it's good to see that we've still got Lionesses in the competition, and obviously quite a few of them are Arsenal players as well. Then moving on to the last quarterfinals that's happened is the one last night, which was Spain versus Switzerland. Obviously we had Mariona for Spain and we had Lia Vulti for Switzerland. Sadly, it was 2-0, which meant that one Gooner had to go home, and that happened to be Lia Vulti. I mean, what she has done, obviously I mentioned in the last podcast, I'm in huge admiration what her nation has done as a whole, how they've branded the Euros, but also she's obviously led her country on home soil, and for them to get out the group stage, I thought was a big achievement in itself. And I'm kind of gutted with how it worked, because it seemed fairly even. I mean, Mariona, she did actually miss a penalty in the 8th minute, and then Alexia ended up missing one later on in the game with like a few minutes to go. So it just proved that the game was so back and forth, and the quality maybe wasn't all there from penalties recently. But it was a good game, and we will see Mariona in the next stage. I think obviously apart from that penalty, Mariona, how she controls the ball, how she dribbles through, she is a very key player. So that was good to see, that at least obviously one of the Gunners went through. And obviously it would be France-Germany tonight. No Gunners play in those teams, so doesn't change it. We have 7 Gunners into the semi-finals of the European competition, which is crazy. 7 Gunners into the Euros. That's still a lot, considering we started off with 12. I think it's just because, I mean, one of them is Mariana Caldente for Spain, and 6 of them represent England. So the minute England come out of that competition, we pretty much have lost all of our Gunners. So I don't know how long my Euro chat will go on for in the next few episodes, because it sort of depends on how these Arsenal fans do. But so far, it's a very good competition. I am enjoying it, and I'm excited to see who will join, because in the next stage, we will have Italy up against England. Should be a good game. I mean, if I was to predict now, I'd say that we'd still stick with all these Gunners going into the final, because Italy aren't looking as good as, say, Sweden were, and we got past Sweden, so I'm hoping we can still do that. And it will be Spain versus whoever wins tonight. I'm going to predict it's probably going to be Spain-France. And then I'm probably going to predict that the final of the Euros will be England-France, which will obviously see 6 Gunners in the Euros final. So let's hope that happens. I'm really manifesting that. Or if not, if it's another England-Spain final, then we'll have all 7 Gunners still in the final. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But yeah, I feel like I've yapped on a lot about a lot of different things. I didn't expect to do another podcast so soon, but I'm very happy I've done one, because otherwise I feel like if I wait a week, we're going to have so many signings, which is such a good position to be in. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you have enjoyed it, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm loving all the comments. I'm loving all the interactions on socials as well as on YouTube. So I really appreciate all of you. I'm also shocked at how many subscribers I'm gaining from these last few episodes, so that's why I kind of want to make it more consistent for you lot, because there is a lot going on right now, so I want to try and bring you the news as soon as I can. But yeah, if you are enjoying it and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do really appreciate it. And also thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment anything below, who you want to see, what your thoughts are on my episode, what I've discussed, obviously the Euros, Olivia Smith signing and Noni Madueke signing, and also any leaked signings or who you want as a striker. I'm assuming Gyökeres for the men. Let me know everything in the comments below. Also, if you are listening on Spotify, you can also comment over there. You can also follow me over there. It's basically the same vibe, just for audio. And to be fair, I love, like, I'm heading to work in a few hours. I love a train journey with a podcast. So if you're like that, you don't need to actually look at my face. You can just listen to my beautiful voice, which is probably really annoying as well. But anyways, thank you for watching or listening, and I will see you very soon. I can't tell you when, but I'm sure there'll be another signing, so I'll probably see you in the next few days.